Folks, welcome to the Tavern Chat vidcast. This is one that's probably not going to be going up on the podcast side because there's a lot of visual in this. As you can see on your screen, I've got Monsters up here. It's by Kevin St. Andre. It's basically based upon the Tunnels and Trolls rules. But here's the deal. In this case, you play the monsters. So it's a different power level involved in this. And as Ken is fond to point out, this is one of the earlier RPGs. It's been updated. Looks really good updated. The cover looks spot on. I'm very pleased looking at it. The PDF is available on drive-through. So, what do you get with it? Well, you get standout figures. The art here is actually pretty good. You can print these out, cut them out, stand them up. Not a bad deal. Um, the art here, surprisingly enough, reminds me a lot of classic Games Workshop art, like in the White Dwarf back in the early and mid 80s. So it looks sharp, it looks spot on. And I gotta say, I like it. So if you don't know what TNT is or Tunnels and Trolls is, it's pretty much, I think, the second RPG. My understanding is Ken played a session of D&D, loved it, but couldn't afford the rules, decided he'd write his own. And he wrote his own kind of from memory, and it evolved. And this is a new edition of Monsters. So Tunnels and Trolls is often a system that is used for solos. And my opinion, the solos are well written, but they're hard to survive with a new character. For some reason, they're not. The solos are written for more advanced characters. Unless you create a more powerful character, you're probably going to get your ass kicked in the solos. But Monster, in this case, comes with a GM adventure, which is not unheard of in TNT to find commercially available, but to have one that was distributed with the rules like this is actually pretty interesting. If you know TNT, the rules here remind me. I'm sure they're influenced a bit from TNT Deluxe, but it reminds me more of fifth edition, like 5.5. It's got spike damage. If you know what spike damage is, basically it's damage that you will inflict even if you lose combat. Combat in TNT is all or nothing. Your points are added up, your opponent's points are added up, and whoever comes out on top inflicts the difference in damage to their opponent, unless their opponent's wearing armor, in which case the armor will absorb some of that damage. But spike damage ignores that. Spike damage allows you to whittle away. Do you need it? In a solo, it's not going to help you. In a solo, it's just going to hurt you. But in a campaign, I think it's fine. They talk that monsters and don't have character classes. TNT has character classes in addition to the races that you choose, but in this case, you don't have a character class for monsters because monsters don't need classes. They don't attend formal training programs. There is no need to pick warrior or wizard or rogue. All monsters fight. Some can cast spells, but every monster has a kindred. This is their ancestral race, and that's what gives them their secret sauce. And monsters, every kindred has its own buffs and debuffs to the aid attributes, as well as unique special ability based on their evolution in Troll World. So you actually have a large number of options. However, for a fast start or for the basic character uh, races, you got 5 choices: trolls, forest, or jungle. And trolls are great in combat, and they have a self-healing ability. Uh, Lizardmen are good in combat, and they have armored skin. Uruks, which I believe are a bit orc-like, maybe. Um, they have fire resistance. Gremlins I don't know. Gremlins, the mere presence of a gremlin within 10 feet will automatically reduce the luck attribute of every non-gremlin in range by 25%. That would also affect your party members. Not quite sure if you'd want to have a gremlin in the party, but they look to be probably your spell casting kindred. They get a bonus to luck, IQ, and dex. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Horgors. Maybe that's their version of ogres. Bonuses to strength and con are significant. Special ability, winning smile. Can befriend other kindreds with a charisma saving roll equal to the other character's level. So, it goes over stuff. There's 49 different monsters and their attributes that are discussed later on in the rules. Not going to go through that. I'm actually not going to go through all that much of the rules. If you know Tunnels and Trolls, you know the rules. It's a six-sided system. All you need is d6s. As many d6s as you can possibly grab. I hate to say it that way. But your attributes are rolled on 3d6, kind of like D&D. But if you roll triples, you keep the triple you rolled, and roll another 3d6. So if you roll, nobody's gonna have a 3, because if you roll a 3, it's a triple, and you get to roll again. So that triple could wind up being, that 3 could wind up being a good score. And if you get an 18 on your initial roll, you're gonna add another 3 dice to it. It's an interesting way to run it. So, you thought that only RuneQuest had ducks? No. They've got ducks, and yes, it's got that Howard the Duck look. Armored Up Maldorian. So, again, we're looking at this artwork, and again, it really reminds me of classic Games Workshop art from, again, the mid-'80s. Really nice. Spot on. They have 5 levels of spells included in the rules. This is your 2 pages of your monster character modifier table for the other races, including zombies, field fiends, minotaurs, yetis, unicorns, obsidian spiders. Not everything is humanoid. But if you were going to run this as more than a one-shot, you probably want to have something linking the races up. But again, it gives you depth if you want to run monsters as significant adversary or recurring adversary in Tunnels and Trolls. Having the Monsters book certainly would help that. They actually do give you a decent paragraph description of these creatures, what they are. So you have options there. Your character sheet, and then, to me, the most important part, not going to go into it because I don't want it to be a spoiler, but the ruins of Helku, or some shite like that. It's a GM adventure for Monsters. However, this system details the monsters' haunted ruins of Helku. They can use the GM run game sessions of both Tunnels and Trolls and Monsters. It's a little bit of a setting, kind of like a sandboxy setting, and it's got dungeons to explore. Again, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but you can see there's significant maps, significant adventure. It's nice. I think you can get a couple of sessions out of it. You certainly would probably want to. And they also have adventures you can run in the city, which is kind of like not full adventures, but they're a little bit more than just running out an encounter. So you got a lot of stuff to play with. They include a treasure generator, which can be used for any of your adventures. And then you have the final words from Ken. And I find something very interesting. And I don't normally like to say, well, gaming stuff gives me inspiration. No. But he makes some good points here. And I'm going to just jump down kind of like to the middle. You want to know the secret? I'll tell you, but don't go spreading this around. Well, sorry, Ken. Because knowing this gives you an advantage over all those people who don't know it. And I only want my friends to know the secret. Here it is. There are no rules. There are only guidelines. It's like the Pirates Code. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Pirates of the Caribbean, in my opinion. Johnny Depp's best role ever. In both gaming and life, there are a lot of guidelines to help you behave properly. And people think they are rules. But those guidelines, rules, change over time and distance. And that's a very good observation. Proper behavior in the USA is not so proper or accepted in Japan or the Congo, or the past, or the future. Everything changes. Most of the time, the guidelines are right and for the best. Sometimes they aren't. And when they're not right for you, then you break them. You need to break them, bend them, change them to achieve a good outcome for whatever is affecting you. Another thing you should know, everything has a cost. Nothing is free. Somebody always must pay for everything that exists or happens. Knowing that, you can change the rules, do what you want, and pay the price. The price may be in money or pain or respect or laughter or advantage. There is always a price, and someone always pays. And I think that that's a good observation. But I think the best observation is, yes, rules that were written in 1974, 1975 might not be rules that work today, which is why they're revised. I would not play OD&D as written. And some people are like, oh, well, you got it. No, it's a fucking mess. It's inspirational, but it's a fucking mess. Would I play Sword and Wizardry White Box in a heartbeat? Because it cleans up that mess and still emulates that original box set, how it would have played if it was written with the knowledge that we have today. So I think that Monsters Revised is written now, not with hindsight, but with the advantage of 45 years of gaming behind it, allowing Ken and others to improve upon the original. I think it's worth the money. You can get it on drive-through. I want to tell you how much it is. I'm not even fucking sure. Because why would I be? Because that would have told me to have this page up before I jumped into this. Monsters is... Why can't I find it? I just want Monsters. Gosh darn it. Monsters rule system. And of course, it doesn't pop up when I run it as Monsters. I don't know. I have it. I got it on drive-through. If it's not popping up right now, maybe they're editing the edition that's currently live. All right, folks. Like I said, this is kind of like a YouTube special because it's really not going to convert well, I think, to the podcast. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Rach and I, my lovely wife, we will be doing the Gamers Health vidcast. That's what we do every week, Saturday nights. I think we're going to be talking. One of the things is that there's no such thing as a cheat day. If you are trying to exercise or eat healthier or whatever you're trying to do, there's no such thing as a cheat day. A reward day, certainly, but cheat days should not exist. But that's for tonight. All right, folks. I will catch you all about 5-ish hours. All right. Laters.